So many things we don't have control over. How dare we not take control over what we can? How many books do you have hanging around the house? Do you say to yourself all the time, God, if I could only get rid of those books. You know how great it would be to have that room? Do you know how nice it would be to sit in this room? Over books? Really? See, we got it messed up. We got it all mixed up. We've been in a place for so long that it makes sense to us. It's like being in the Twilight Zone. We're in another world that we've created all by ourselves. We've created this world. We told ourselves that this stuff is important, and now we believe it.
This is a recording of a live video that I have for my Tidy Tutor Insiders. I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope you see how really valuable it is to be a part of my Tidy Tutor world.
Welcome, everybody. Everybody sees and hears me. So for today's coffee talk, it's going to be a little bit on the borderline of difficult and easy. And the reason I say that is just because there's a lot of emotional things that we're going to deal with today in our coffee talk. Now, there are lots of times that we do deal with emotional things in our coffee talks and in everything that we do, really. You know, when you signed up for this, you really thought, all right, good, I'm going to finally get my house together. And then you realize it's really more like I'm finally getting my life together. We don't travel along with our crib or with our mobile that hung over the crib, right? You go into school, you don't take those big fat crayons anymore into the first and the second grade. It's time to hold on to the small crayons now, right? And so it's easy to do that because we're growing. This is life, right? Then something happens, we get to a certain place, and nobody told us that it's time to let go of this stuff. I'm not saying get rid of the bedding that your grandmother made or the bassinet that has been passed down to each baby. Every time somebody has a baby, they use this bassinet. Look, if that's what you do, there's nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong with it, though, if what's attached to that thing does not hold joy and will never be used. If you can't use them, give them to somebody they can. They will just rot away in whatever area you have them in. And when you go, so will they. And most of the time, it's an extreme burden that we're putting on the ones that love us, to hold on to those sentimental things that nobody wanted, nobody needed, and actually had so much baggage hanging on to it that it was crushing you, but you didn't know it. If you don't love it, you don't need it, you don't use it, it causes you some sort of grief, it doesn't fit in you or in your house, or it's broken, it needs to go. My daughter-in-law was 25 years old when she died. 25 years old. Her whole life ahead of her. Beautiful on the inside and on the out. An amazing human being. People have a shelf life. You want to grieve that dresser? You want to grieve that piano? You want to grieve that gravy boat? You want to grieve that ladle, right? Go ahead, grieve it. I get it. I get that this thing had something attached to it that's making it difficult for you to get rid of. But what you got to do, you got to put your life on one side of a scale. And then you got to put that banjo on the other, that guitar, that ring, that dresser, that piano, that mirror, that dress, that shoe, that glove. All right? You put your life on one side of the scale, and then you put that stuff on the other. You better weigh more. You better weigh more. You better be more important than that thing that was not a 25-year-old girl. Do you see why I am giving you that analogy? That it's all right. You'll get over it. You know, you'll get over it. That thing that you need to get over never was going to have a baby, never was going to be married until she was 80 years old. She was never going to be a teacher, an art teacher, right? That thing was just going to be something that would serve another family, but it was never going to be anything that would be that hard for you to let go of and grieve and then go on with your life, because you are way more important than that stuff. And that stuff is so pulling you down and so dragging you under and so stopping you from being able to live your life that it does not deserve the tear you're going to shed for it. Okay? Having said that, some things are not like a heart-wrenching thing to get rid of and don't have like trauma attached to them. And those things, they still affect your life. They still affect your life, let me tell you. They're still hanging around. They're still taking up space. They're still telling you every time you see it, this object is more important than you are. This chair, that chair, me, the chair. Hey, here I am, the chair. Guess what? I'm more important than you are. Hey, look at me, the lamp you hate. Guess what? You have no power over me. I'm going to be stuck with you for the rest of your life. Hey, you know, look at me, this table that you can't stand. You got to keep me. What, you don't think that's what that shit's telling you? What are you hearing when you see this stuff? Can you feel that you have any power at all in the world? There are so many things we have zero power over. So many things. When I was in that car crash, I had no power over what was happening to me. Completely crushed in a car. Jaws of life had to pull me out. There are things we have no control over. None. I'm sure all of you have suffered loss. You know what it's like to lose somebody. You know what it's like to have something happen you can do nothing about, right? If your house burnt down, right now, and God forbid, okay, do the knocking thing. If your house burnt down and you're standing in the front and you're watching it burn, you have a couple of puppies, you have a cat, you have a child, you have a significant other, right? You're standing out there all by yourself and you're looking around, panicked as anything. Suddenly, you see your child, you see your dog, you see your neighbor holding your cat, you see your husband with the baby running to you. Everybody's accounted for. Do you give two shits about one thing that's in that house? No, not one thing. Not a picture, not a gravy boat, nothing. Somehow, we have gotten to the place where we think things matter. And they don't. They don't at all. Not in the slightest. You matter. We matter. People matter. That's it. Everything else could be replaced. Is it a shame that your pictures, could go and those really can't be replaced? Yeah, there are some things that can't be replaced. But remember what I said before. People have a shelf life. If we could grieve a person that cannot move on to see her child grow up because she's gone now, right? If we can grieve a person that there's nothing we can do about it, we can grieve a picture. I'm not asking you to get rid of your pictures. I'm not asking you to get rid of your childhood memories, your things that matter to you, that make you you. You want to see what I have? Here, I'll show you. Hi. To tell you I don't have stuff, I have stuff. Look, this is my father's box, right? It was his box. What do I have in here? I have important things to me in here. A passport, my father's glasses. Okay? I have my father's glasses. I have this thing that used to open the window in the kitchen I grew up in. I want to make sure you know that there's a balance to this. Keep things that you love. Get rid of things that don't serve you anymore. And if you happen to get rid of something that you wish you didn't, get over it. It's not a person, okay? Grieve it like it died. okay? You're more important. So let me see. I'm going to read what you guys got going on here. Thank you for your beautiful analogy, Kathy. Your 25-year-old daughter-in-law, bless you. Yeah, you know, my mother was 45. 45. 8 kids. People die. And we've got to grieve them and then move on because it's part of life. What are you going to do? Right? But we're talking about stuff here. The things that we are making ourselves crazy over. A pencil, 6 pens. These pens are good, but you have 500 of them. I was going to say the F word. They're screwing up your life. See what I mean? All right. I get a little intense. Don't feel guilty about anything, all right? Please, please, please don't. Don't feel guilty about keeping something either. When it comes time to go to the emotional baggage, go to that. In the meantime, you probably have 500 grocery bags stuffed between the refrigerator and the wall. You probably have, 600 gift boxes and gift bags shoved somewhere where all your Christmas stuff is. You probably have clothes in your closet and in your dresser that you haven't worn in 6 years. You probably have a whole bunch of chipped china somewhere, right? You probably have what else? You probably have a drawer that you could barely open that has like makeup in it, right? My point to saying all of that is start with that stuff. You don't have to go to, going through pictures and going through things that mean something to you, right? Like say let's pretend that I had a whole bunch of these things, like a whole china closet full, and I was dejunking, and I didn't need it all. I didn't want it all. I wanted to lighten my load. It wouldn't be the time for me to deal with that stuff that all belonged to my mother, right? If I had all of this stuff that belonged to my mother, and I was about to move on with my life, and I didn't want to take all of this stuff with me, I would work on the stuff that I had to work on first. Like, how much clothes do I have? I just want to take a suitcase full. Okay, well, let me deal with that now. I have 600 pens. I don't have them, but you know what I mean. We've got 600 pens. Let's deal with that stuff. Deal with the stuff that's easy first. And then when the time comes to deal with the hard stuff, remember that this is the stuff that we have control over. This is the stuff that holds us down. It'll make it easier on you. Don't feel guilty, all right? The last thing you want to do is feel guilty. When it comes time to get rid of the stuff, do it with ease. But if you're not ready for it yet, you got plenty to get rid of, not to have to deal with that. Okay? I will be listening to this many times over, I'm sure. You're a good preacher. Thanks. Okay, bye, everybody. Love you. Take care.
If you want to get it together at home and you don't want to go it alone, go to thetidytutor.com, enter your name and email, we'll get hooked up, and I will help you get your house together, get your life together, and actually find happiness along the way. No joke.
You got bugs called a bug eye. You cook bacon, apple pie. If you sew, you fix or tear, clean or clean my underwear. These are the things we do. The house is a mess with all the junk. The sink's clogged up with dinner time gunk. You pick up the phone and call Roto-Rooter to make it all work. You call the Tidy Tutor.
I think that was pretty good. Don't you?